Hey, Kent.
What's up, David? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. And yourself, man?
Dude, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
It's a good week, and it's a good day to be alive every day.
Exactly. Audience, welcome to the the Dudes in Kansas show. I am Kent.
I'm David.
David, what are we going to talk about tonight?
We are going to talk about music. Our first CDs, our love of music, our first memories of music, and the bands and the songs that made it sing. So without any further ado,
David, thank you. Hey, look, music has been something that I've always fallen back to, David. I love music. I get in my truck and I'm very blessed because I have satellite radio in it. And dude, I'm not embarrassed to tell you, I jam to the 80s on 8, the 90s on 9. I got the 20s on 10. I jam to all the old stuff. And I once met a famous artist who remained silent. Maybe we'll talk about him one day. And he told me, he says, the music, good music always brings you back to the good times in the past. That's what it's like a remembrance thing. And David, I was jamming to this song this week. I want to share it. It was by Mike and the Mechanics, and it was called All I Need Is a Miracle, All I Need Is You. And I forgot how good that song is. Have you heard it before?
Oh, yes, I have. It's an amazing song. And I hate the fact that copyright is such a big issue, and that if we started singing something, people get all freaking fussy about it just because we're enjoying talking about their music. So we'll if we bust out in the song, we may bleep it out, but just roll with it. Understand that that's what's going on, and you're not being confused if you're listening on the podcast. And if you're watching on the video, you'll understand what's going on because you'll see us singing away and nothing's happening but bleeped out cause or whatever it is that we use to cover it up. But I figure we can just be ourselves that way and have more fun.
No, that sounds great. A little fun facts about Mike and the Mechanics. This song came from 1985. They're an English pop band. Their peak position in the U.S. Billboard Top 100 was actually number 5, and they were actually in a music video for what they would call Silent Running on Dangerous Ground, basically Choked Canyon in 1986. So I thought that was all really cool information. I've never really seen the movie. I just love to jam to it. But that leads me to my next topic I want to talk to you about, David. Do you remember? I remember, and I still have the CDs, which I'd be happy to show. Do you remember your first CD you ever bought?
First CD I ever bought. Man, sorry for the long pause. I'm reminiscing here a little bit and feeling the emotion. You probably bought a CD before I did. I was jamming with the cassette tapes pretty long. I remember the first cassette tape I bought, but the first CD that I distinctly remember purchasing was in the 90s, and it was Steve Vai, Fire Garden.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's an amazing album. If you've never heard it, I suggest you pick it up or search it on YouTube or Spotify or Amazon Prime Music or whatever your streaming access is. Check it out or go buy it. Help the artist directly through the album sale. I highly suggest it. It's wonderful.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, believe it or not, through all my moves and everything, I have kept every CD I've ever bought. And I remember the first CDs I ever bought. It was I must have been 13, 14 years old. I used my own money. I had I got I think like a little CD player when I was a kid, This is when they were starting to become more popular and stuff. I couldn't name it. It was just a little piece of junk CD player, but it was awesome to me. And I want to share the audience what I bought. And the first one I ever got was a really cool one, and it was Tom Petty, Full Moon Fever.
Oh, nice. I love Tom Petty.
I love that song, Free Fallin'. The song, I Won't Back Down, one of my favorites. It was that one where it had Alice in Wonderland kind of spin off. Well, I jammed to this CD. My next favorite one, see, I bought 3 of them.
He was the Mad Hatter in that music video.
That is exactly right.
Oh, yeah.
My next one, everybody loves these guys. I mean, they were overplayed in the 80s because they had so many hits. Daryl Hall, John Oates, Voices.
Yes, Hall & Oates. I remember listening. Now, I may not have had CDs. My father, on the other hand, he had CDs, and we'll get into that story a little later.
But the reason why I bought this CD, because there's a famous movie called Top Gun, and they played You Lost That Lovin' Feeling. I don't know why. I just love that dumb song.
It's a great song.
I thought it was so cool how he's trying to pick up that chick in the bar.
Yeah. Well, how better to pick up a chick than Hall & Oates,
Hall
man.
& Oates, man. You Lost That Lovin' Feeling. Anyway,
yeah, no kidding.
And then my next favorite one is very special. They're an awesome band. They've been around for many, many generations. David, I know you're going to absolutely love this one. Queen Greatest Hits. They still, to this day, play their music. I just heard it on the radio today. We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions. Absolutely love this CD. And David, that's where it's going to lead into our next topic. I'd like to do the Ode to Queen.
Ode to Queen, you'll see here on the desk, if you're watching the video, Flash Gordon. They happen to have been the original soundtrack music by Queen. And I had, this was the second album that I received as a gift from my parents when I was young, because I love Queen. My earliest memories of any music is listening to Queen. My dad, early in the 80s, bought one of the first CD players. This was,
cool.
1982 is when the Sony CDP 101 came out. First CD player in the United States. And I don't remember if that's the one that my dad purchased or if it was one directly after that, the CDP 70, which came out like 2 or 3 years later. But it was one of the very first ones. And he bought it. He got they didn't even have CDs available where he bought the CD player. So he convinced the guy selling it to him to give him one of the demo tracks that they used in the music studios called The Sound of Light. It was The Sound of Light 2, and it had all these different soundtrack songs and famous songs from the time period on that CD. And he still has all of his original CDs. The original CDs were minted in West Germany at the time, and they looked very unusual. I've tried to do some research to figure out exactly what they were made of, because they feel heavier, almost like they're glass with a layer of silver on them. If you know the answer, please put it in a comment. Send us a message. I'd love to know, because my searching thus far has led me zero. And when he started purchasing CDs, one of those very first CDs was Queen's Greatest Hits, released October 26th of 1981.
Wow.
And it was minted in West Germany. And my favorite track was number 5, Fat Bottom Girls. I can remember taking the CD out of the CD case, picking it up gently, because my dad had scared the ever-living crap out of me that if I scratched the CD, I'd never listen to music ever again. And I would put it in the CD player. I'd close the cartridge door, and then I would skip tracks, which, it was records. So you didn't skip track. You had to kind of balance that arm and just barely rest it down. Hope you didn't scratch and that you were near the start of your song, if not at the end of the previous song. But skip tracks till you got to number 5, and I jammed me some Fat Bottom Girls. I was like 4, 5, 6 years old at the time. So
wow,
my earliest memories of music, Queen has been there from the beginning. Every album on that, or every song on that album. So the album that you had just picked up was released in 1991, a re-release of the greatest hits.
Correct.
And that original 1981 album, I listened to it constantly. So Flash Gordon was my record that I got when I was a kid, and I have Queen 2. I have A Night of the Opera. I have It's a Kind of Magic, which was another soundtrack for another awesome 80s movie, Highlander.
Oh, that's right.
There Can Be Only One.
That's right.
Love. We actually talked about one of these songs in a previous podcast for Iron Eagle.
That's right.
Yes, because he was singing
One Vision,
which is the title track for this album. It's a Kind of Magic. I highly suggest it's a great one. And here several years back, I went and got the Greatest Hits 1, 2, and 3 Platinum collection. So if you can't tell, Queen has been in my blood for as long as I've been listening to music, and I've always had a passion for their music and the amazing musicality, the differences of genres over the years, their flexibility. They could play and sing anything they wanted and really wanted to stretch those boundaries and not be labeled as a particular kind of band. And recently saw the movie Bohemian Rhapsody with Rami Malek.
Ooh, I love that. He's in one of my favorite movies, David. Need for Speed.
Nice.
Yes. So I know exactly who you're talking about. I have not yet seen that movie. How was it?
I don't care what any critic said. I have always had the dream. If I could go back in time, the one concert I'd want to go see is I'd want to see Queen in concert. Watching that movie was like being able to live that dream and have it be reality. I mean, I had tears in my eyes at certain points of the movie just because watching Rami Malek perform as Freddie Mercury and having grown up watching him in music videos and listening to his music, just there was a very emotional drive watching the movie. So to me, it was awesome. I'd watch it again multiple times. It was awesome, amazing. I'm using the same word over and over, but I was just overwhelmed, very overwhelmed.
Gosh, I don't know about the audience out there, but I'm sold. I'm going to see this movie. This sounds awesome.
I mean,
I know,
he got Best Actor.
I was about to say,
Oscar.
There was some kind of award.
Oh, yeah.
A major award.
A major award.
A lot of Queen songs have been played in movies. Please help me here.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's right. And we talked about this, I think, then a couple episodes ago, which was in Wayne's World.
Bohemian Rhapsody. They talk about it, the creation of this particular album in the movie and how creative, how experimental this particular album was, all the different techniques they were doing that were just not typical at the time, and Bohemian Rhapsody being the first single from the album. It was there so much history I didn't know, because to be excited about the music, you don't always get into the history.
Sure.
You enjoy the music and you remember that moment when you first heard it. You remember the people you were with while you listened to the songs. You remember those experiences. So hearing about the history and the creation of this album was pretty fascinating. And yeah, Wayne's World. Actually, Mike Myers is in the film.
Wait, is he really?
He is in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, I'm gonna have to see this.
It was it was just that connection. Wayne's World, Bohemian Rhapsody, the history of the song, the history of the music. Queen is amazing. Thank you. Thank you, God, for Queen.
That's amazing. Another, We Are the Champions, and We Will Rock You.
Yep.
Another famous, this would be more 90s, the Mighty Ducks played that one. Of course, there was One Vision and Iron Eagle.
Yes.
And I'm sure...
soundtrack for Flash Gordon. Soundtrack for Highlander.
That's right. And I'm sure if we got down to the nitty gritty and the details, a lot of their songs are played in a lot more movies.
Probably countless movies.
Exactly. So, amazing band. Absolutely love them myself. I jammed to Queen many times. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure this CD case has seen better days. But absolutely love the music myself.
Absolutely. I don't have any more words. I can't express my appreciation for the band, their abilities, and what they mean to me as a person and throughout my life. So just kind of like you and I cruising 80s at 8 in the Buick back in the day.
That's right.
Through high school, we would jam to so many 80s tunes.
That's right. Matter of fact, a lot of my playlists, and yes, I still make CDs. I mean, this new generation, it's all MP3. It's on your phone. It's on your iPod.
There's Spotify list and all of the. There's a ton of different things you can do.
Does anybody even use an iPod anymore? Is that what it was called? An iPod where you put music?
Yep.
I had Sansa music player or something. But anyways, I still make CDs, and I have a CD that's like all 80s. And right now I'm jamming to this song. It's called Send Me an Angel by Real Life.
Yes.
I can't get enough of that song right now. And then there was another quirky 80s band. I think it was called ABC, Singing with Smokey. That's a fun one.
I probably would know the song if I heard it, but I do not. I don't know.
Breaking My Stride. That's another.
Yes.
I love that one.
Oh man, it's been a long time since I've heard that song.
Exactly. What else do I have going on here? I play a lot. David, I'm trying to think, and I'm just but I know I have a lot of Tom Petty.
Yep.
Can't beat Tom Petty. A lot of Queen, and I was listening today, Mike and the Mechanics on the 80s. That was fun. And Belinda Carlisle, Debbie Gibson. Holy smokes, it's starting to roll out now. New Kids on the Block.
Keep it coming, man. Come on.
Oh, this is fun. There's Michael Jackson.
Oh, Michael Jackson. How can we forget?
Michael Jackson. We got, who else do we have here? Elton John, We Are Still Standing.
Yes. Elton John, you want to talk about music. Oh my gosh, the man can make some music. He and his gentleman who writes all the lyrics, because Elton John does all of the piano, all the music composition, and the lyrics are written by another gentleman. And man, for the life of me, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but man, they make some amazing tunes. I've been listening to a greatest hits album of Elton John regularly on, not on my CD, it's actually on my phone. And I've been listening to that album. I've been listening to, I listen to a lot of soundtracks sometimes, and I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I kind of switch back and forth between music, books that are entertainment, and books that are learning. So I cycle through that. Just kind of depends on my mood.
You're a better guy than I am because I just jam to music all the time.
All the time.
Remember a guy named Phil Collins in Genesis?
Yes, the drum on.
Exactly. That's a fun one. Song. Here's a little pop quiz. You might know it. First music video ever played on MTV, which would have been 1981. You remember?
I should know that. I've heard the name before, and it's not coming to me.
Video Killed the Radio Star.
Oh, yes. Which is poetic, isn't it?
Isn't it? Which I believe it or not, I think that was 1979 that song came out, but it became a hit with the music video when MTV first came out.
I think one of the coolest music videos was from a little band. And of course, it's going to disappear from my mind. Scratch that. We're going to cut that part out because I can't remember the name of the band. I Want My MTV by...
Oh, I cannot remember who that is, but that was a great song.
Yes, I cannot remember the name of the band. My dad has that CD, and that's why I'm kicking myself in the
Peter Gabriel and Sledgehammer.
Oh, yeah, Sledgehammer and the Alan Parsons Project from the 80s. And damn it, I can't remember the name of it.
David, please forgive me for interrupting. I can't believe I almost forgot this band because you and me, I believe it was our junior year down in Houston.
Oh, yes. Concert.
Van Halen.
Van Halen, one of the kings of rock from that time period. And it was the Van Halen 3 tour. And it was their starting leg. It was their opening concert for their tour. They'd been practicing that week before.
That's right.
We were lucky enough to get front row tickets.
Front row.
So it was amazing. If you were at that concert, leave a message below. We were in the front row. We were at the Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion in the Woodlands.
Nice memory.
Bust that one out. Down in the Houston area. So
we can't forget some Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses, absolutely.
One of my favorite lyrics, the grass is green and the girls are pretty.
Oh, yeah. November Rain. Man.
Oh,
amazing song.
And speaking of rain, Purple Rain.
Oh, Prince. Yes. And gonna party like it's 1999.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Little Red Corvette.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
We can't forget a famous female singer, Madonna.
One name says it all. Madonna.
She had tons of hits.
She did have tons of hits.
The one that always sticks out in my mind, Like a Virgin.
I can't imagine why a young man might think about that song.
I never understood it when it came out when I was 8. Like a Virgin? What?
What does that mean? Oh, we know.
Oh, now we know now,
Yeah,
don't we, buddy?
now.
But oh my goodness, all those wonderful 80s, man. And like I said, that's what brings me back, to the memories when you're sitting in the car, or when we were at the swimming pool, or you're just relaxing. I could remember when we would drive. My father is from back east, and so we'd drive from Kansas to Boston, and I could remember my parents putting in tapes, and it would be like Baja, Bacia. That was that she had some real cool hits, and Morrison. I can't remember his first name. It's not Mark Morrison, not the rapper.
Jim Morrison.
And maybe it was another one. I could just remember all those songs just playing in my head because we jammed to those for like 40 hours.
Yeah, my dad. I grew up listening to the Eagles, Styx, Kansas, namesake. My dad actually grew up in Great Bend. Well, let me rephrase that. He spent his senior year in Great Bend and then graduated and lived in the Great Bend area and went and saw Kansas in the bars back then, and they played at his prom, I believe, is what he had said. And back then, at that time period, when they first started out, they were called White Clover. And then they changed the name to Kansas. And I still have the original vinyl Kansas that they bought back when it first came out from the band directly.
Oh, so, that's cool.
Yeah, little throwback there.
Before we end our segment here, I cannot forget to mention Def Leppard. I love all their songs.
White Snake.
Oh, that's another great one. I mean, we could go on for hours.
Absolutely could go on for hours. As you can tell, it's rock. We like us some good old-fashioned rock and roll. And those bands, they were able to bring it home.
Good times, David. Good times. Well, you know what, buddy? That's 25 minutes.
25 minutes.
That's our longest episode.
Yeah. Yeah, that is our longest episode so far, because our true longest episode we cut in half. So.
That's right. Exactly. So let's not bore our people anymore. Give them the good ending speech for me, friend.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I don't care if it's on the podcast, Podbean. We're on iTunes. We're on Google Play Music, Google Play Music Podcasts, and YouTube. Give us a like, share us. The only way we're going to get out anywhere is if somebody cares enough to pass us along to somebody else who might enjoy. So please do that. Leave us a comment. Make it constructive. We're human beings just like you are, and I hope that this has been enjoyable. And if it doesn't just bring back memories, it inspires you to go out and listen to some darn good music.
Exactly. And please, if you watch this podcast, feel free in the comments to tell us what was your first CD. Because, hey, I want to know. I shared you mine. I want to hear yours. David showed you his. But from now till next, it's always been a pleasure. David.
All right. See you later, man.
Buddy.